Welcome to Things You Don't Know. In today's episode, we're going a little batty. I guess that is not too unusual, but this time it's for real as we were focusing on the widely misunderstood and unappreciated creatures, bats. Now, the instigation for this has been National Bat Week, and today, as we're recording this, is National Bat Day. Bet you didn't even know that, huh? Anyhow, bats often face negative perceptions. They're being seen as creepy, bloodthirsty, rabies infested, confined to caves, and only getting any attention during Halloween. Yet, these extraordinary and widespread flying mammals are essential contributors to the ecosystems they inhabit. The Chiroptera order encompasses over 1,400 bat species, representing about 1/4 of all mammals. Now, rodents surpass that as they comprise about 40% of mammals. Uniquely, bats are the only mammals that can fly. Existing in nearly every part of the world, they are able to fly pretty good long distances at times. Now, let's take a look at some of the traits behind their distinctive ears and wing structure that makes bats some of the planet's most crucial and critical creatures.
There are two subsets of bats, micro and mega. Megabats, also known as fruit bats or flying foxes, have exceptional eyesight and primarily consume fruit and nectar. In contrast, microbats are distinguished by their ability to echolocate and their diet consisting of insects and, in some cases, blood. Much like birds, bats use their wings to transverse almost every part of the world, from Africa to Australia and Canada. Though, for good reason, they generally avoid polar areas. They typically roost in caves, crevices, trees, and human-made structures such as attics or beneath bridges. In the United States alone, there are over 40 bat species, with the little brown bat, the big brown bat, and the Mexican free-tailed bat being the most prevalent. While microbats are not blind, their greatest sensory advantage is echolocation. Similar to shrews, dolphins, and even some cave-dwelling birds, bats hunt by emitting a steady stream of high-frequency sounds that other bats can hear. When these sound waves hit an insect or an object, they bounce back, allowing bats to construct a detailed auditory map of their surroundings. Even detecting objects, I was shocked to hear this, as fine as a single human hair.
Yeah. I remember as a child, there was an intersection of streets in our neighborhood. And this one particular one, it had a street lamp, the old fashioned street lights, which attracted a lot of insects. You could see them buzzing around the light and stuff. And guess what? That attracted a, a bevy of bats. And these bats, you could see them diving around chasing the insects. So on warm summer nights, I would go with some of my buddies and friends, and we'd toss pebbles into the air near the swarm of insects and bats. The bats would often follow the pebbles until they figured out it was a pebble and not an insect. Now they would dive down and they'd get real close to us. None of us ever got hit. None of us ever got hurt or anything like that. But it was amazing to watch the aerobatics and agility of those bats. It was really fun. We would spend, you know, half an hour up there by that street lamp, just throwing these little pebbles up in the air. Now, Swingen Morgan et al. In Bat Radio Telemetry in Forested Areas of Minnesota, published in 2015, 2017, from the University of Minnesota, reports that with a thriving bat colony nearby, the need for harmful pesticides reduces or diminishes significantly. One individual bat can consume over 600 insects per hour, making them an excellent natural solution for pest control. You know, the U.S. Department of the Interior estimates that this ecological service contributes between 3.7 and $5.3 billion to agriculture. That's a lot. Now, the problem is this benefit may decline over the next decade as North American bat populations face increasing threats, such as their habitats being destroyed and diseases that they have gotten from no fault of their own. They've been around. They're ancient. Bats are ancient. I mean, we're talking dinosaur times. Bats were there. It's just amazing.
What really surprised me is the myths associated with so-called vampire bats. I'll let you in on a little secret, folks. No, they don't actually suck blood. They pierce the skin of sleeping animals and lick the blood as it seeps out from the punctures. They only drink 2 tablespoons or less a day, so it doesn't really cause significant problems. If you want some more interesting stuff about myths, check out our Dracula podcast. Another fascinating factor is their evolutionary process. Bats evolved to hang upside down for long periods of time. The bat ancestor is believed to have developed claws for hanging to wait around for insects to come up from the trees. This unique hanging position also conserves energy. As opposed to defying gravity and attempting to, or even standing upright, no energy has to be expended while hanging due to the lightweight structure of their leg muscles and bones, which were developed for flight.
You know, another interesting thing here, large mammals, they tend to live longer because they have slower metabolic rates. There are some notable exceptions, and 19 species of bats are one of the most notable, with lifespans in these bats of 40 years. 40 years, which is more than double the lifespans of humans when size and weight are taken into the equation and into consideration. Despite their longevity, several species of bats are on the endangered species list, and several are on the critically endangered list. This is an alarming statistic, as bats are very important to agriculture, as I've already mentioned. It's on a par with bees. Now, bats control insects, while bees pollinate plants. But both things are critical to crop production. One without the other doesn't work so good. Now, a big part of the mythos concerning bats is that they will give you rabies. In fact, 1% of bats carry rabies. Doesn't seem to fit with the mythos. Now, bat and bird guano or poop is a very wonderful fertilizer. It really is. However, inhaling the dust from the guano, whether it's bird or bat, can cause significant illnesses in humans. So you want to avoid that. If you go into a cave and there are bats in there, and there's going to be lots of guano around and dust, you want to not breathe that dust in because that is very dangerous, as we've said. But you also should take a shower as soon as you can. Get rid of all of that stuff off of you and off of your clothes too. Wash your clothes and just be safe. I mean, it's just reasonable.
I can't imagine it would be good to maintain that
No,
stuff on your
no.
clothes. Uh, One of the things that has always intrigued me is the use of bats in mythology. Many of us, people of my generation, grew up with Sesame Street and the Count character who always had a retinue of bats in his presence as he was counting one thing after another. If you want to laugh, folks, check out our Oscar the Grouch podcast where he speaks with a first lady and a philosopher.
That even today, you see in movies and other things, particularly around Halloween, you see bats, presented in this kind of spooky wooky way, kind of. Sorry to interrupt there, Dr. Deneen.
Oh, that's quite all right, Dr. Weaver, but that's not accurate at all. But perhaps the most famous fictional portrayal of a bat is the Batman comic book that goes all the way back to the Depression era.
Batman.
Indeed. And the reason that Bill Finger and Bob Kane, the creators of Batman, chose that particular animal as a symbol, it represents mystery, the concept of the night, and fear, all elements that the fictional Bruce Wayne wanted to embody because it struck fear into the hearts of criminals. Those of you who know the origin story know that after witnessing his parents' murder, Bruce Wayne vowed to fight crime, and as he trained to fulfill this mission, he sought a symbol that would give him an intimidating edge. In the comics, he chooses the bat symbol after an actual bat flew through his window one evening. He saw it as an omen, recognizing that bats, as creatures of the night, are often misunderstood and feared. By adopting a bat as a symbol, he aimed to make himself a figure of fear to criminals everywhere, particularly in fictional Gotham City, believing that criminals are a superstitious and cowardly lot. The bat persona allows him to operate covertly in the dark, hiding his identity, blending into the shadows, which is essential for his vigilantism. The costume Batman wore, complete with a bat emblem on his chest, wings for gliding, and dark colors, adds to his intimidating presence. The bat, therefore, not only serves as a fearsome symbol, but also aligns with his method of stealth, his night-focused activities, and his quest to be feared by criminals. While that is a fictitious story, in reality, many nation-states have adopted bat-like symbols for important social and political programs. In 2017, with my good friend, Dr. Christopher McGonigal, I did a paper called Batman Incorporated. This was a comic series that looked at different personas around the world and what they meant in reality. For example, in the Congo, it was seen as a symbol of partnership between the indigenous peoples and the benign part of the Belgians. In Argentina, in real life, after the death of Evita Peron, the Argentinian government created a bat symbol to symbolize reconciliation. Many Germans, connected or not connected with the Third Reich, had fled there. Also, many Jews had fled to Argentina. So, in a weird way, these two vastly opposed groups needed each other. And the bat was their symbol of their coming together.
Indeed.
The point of
Go ahead.
this story, friends, is that sometimes something that we've built up in our minds to mean one thing can not only mean something else in reality, but can play a larger role than we might think.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I just wanted to add here as we kind of tail this off. If you have a garden, or if you just care about the ecology and the climate and all of those sort of things, you might want to consider building a little bat haven. They're easy to make with just a few little hammers and nails and a pole or two. You can do that. There's plenty of instructions online on how to do it. The utility in doing that is that those bats will protect your garden. They will keep the bugs, the mosquitoes, the gnats, all those creepy crawly things away from you and your house and your garden. And you'll be doing a good thing for the bat population, because if they are protected and they're there, they will actually kind of get very used to you, and they'll have a safe haven. Remember, some of them can live quite a while. So you should think about it and consider it. So I guess we've kind of covered, the ground quickly. I really do want to encourage people to think about this, because bats are really important to us in more ways than you might think. And hopefully you've learned some of that. And I also want to encourage people to come back and join us. We have some good things coming up. And we also have another podcast channel called History Twists. And we're all very excited. I know I'm speaking for Dr. Tavine and myself and Chandler, who's been helping us, about a podcast that we're doing on History Twists called The Election of 1860. It'll probably have a different title, but it's really interesting. We have uncovered a ton of information, and we're picking a point of divergence. I'm not going to give any more away than that, but wow, there could be some real interesting things that you learn. But anyhow, do come back and join us. Thank you for joining us today. Give us a like and subscribe. Make comments if you'd like. We always like those.
I I share Dr. Weaver's enthusiasm. I won't give it away either. But this I think is going to be one of the most fascinating podcasts we've ever done, either on things you don't know or history twists. There are some interesting things coming up on things you don't know as well. We have so many ideas, friends. It would take us 1,000 years to do everything we want to do. But I just want to wish everybody a happy Halloween, and thank you for being here with us. And I hope we see you all soon. Bye for now.
Indeed. Bye for now. And we look forward to seeing you again, like right soon. Bye.